You know, if Sirius is playing safe, they would go with the core Prophet. It's just much more stable. It's a core, it scales better. But we have seen Jakiros take that mid lane as that sort of pause 2 and set the tempo for their team. And it does come online fairly fast. You get a good timing on that Veil of Discord as well, and you pump out the damage. But I don't know about it in this case, especially with that Tidehunter pickup as well. You're really not going to be able to do as much as you'd want. This is a very tanky lineup from EHOME. Even with that Veil up early on the Jack, your damage is just going to be middling, and then you just stop scaling. So it's more than likely going to be that off-lane Nature's Prophet coming out here. The support duo of the Earth Spirit and Jakiro for Sirius, and EHOME with that Tidehunter. They have massive teamfight potential coming out now. Just great area control, great durability with these three heroes, the Doom, the Sven, the Tidehunter, and the Oracle to keep any of them alive. It's just very well-rounded from EHOME so far.
Certainly is. Of course, Sirius. One more ban to go for them before we get to see how they close this off. I do get the strangest feeling, John, that this is going to be a core Jakiro. I could be wrong, but I imagine it is, because Jakiro, it does fit the position 5 role, but not as well as a Prophet, the Nature's Prophet does. Looks like it's probably going to be a mid Jakiro from Sirius, though I'm going to wait out and see. I do agree with your points on EHOME, though. They do seem to have a lot of sustain, and they're going to be pretty potent in these team fights. It's like they'll get rid of the OD on the side of Sirius, and that's fair enough, because if you do run a core Jakiro, it's not going to be able to stop the OD from farming. Get rid of that hero. Yep.
It's less about the core Jakiro and more about the Wraith King. You mentioned heroes that drain the mana. I mean, Santi's Eclipse will just drain Wraith King's mana. He's just pretty much useless. So it's really in response and in defense of the Wraith King, not anything about that core Jack. I really don't know about the core Jack coming out here. Again, you don't have space for your Nature's Prophet as 5 or a 4. Sharing that with the Earth Spirit is pretty greedy. We have seen that combination before, and you can make it work. I guess with if Jack is that pause 2, at some point he just stops farming anyway, so you will have room. Again, it's just a bit iffy. How much can you really get from the core Jack here? It doesn't feel like you're going to be really benefiting too much.
Well, I mean, in terms of the draft together, John, I mean, they have some crazy push going on. I mean, you got the treants available from Nature's Prophet, you got the Wraith King Skeletons, and you've got the Jakiro with the Liquid Fire, but I agree with you. If Sirius, though, they do seem to run these kind of stranger drafts. They understand that going up against a team like EHOME isn't going to be easy to just... Like, you can't really choose a standard draft and go head-to-head with this team. It's probably not going to work out in your favor. And I do appreciate the fact that they're trying to do something a bit more unique with their draft on Sirius' side, though. EHOME! Who's this bloke? I haven't seen this guy in a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time since the Shadow Fiend really has been popping out in that mid, and EHOME goes back to it. I can't blame them. They have a really good lineup for it. Again, they have great team fight, great durability. They just needed a bit more in terms of wider range damage, and I think the Shadow Fiend really gives them what they want. Sure, they don't really have any way of maybe stopping that second life from Wraith King, but for the most part, when we've seen it, it's been rather underwhelming anyway. So I don't think EHOME finds that Wraith King to be a major threat. And picking the Shadow Fiend just ensures them a pretty good time down mid.
Certainly does. Sirius, how do you close this out? Okay, so we've been baited, John. Storm Spirit will come out. ASD will be playing that mid-core Storm. I still don't know who's playing core, though. I've got to actually look up because it's in Chinese characters, of course, so it's hard for me to tell which play is which. Unfortunately, I do not read the beautiful language, but it does look like it will be a position for Jakiro and a core Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, that's definitely much more helpful for the cause. Sirius, of course, you wouldn't have that much room for your NP to farm up, even if you had a Jack core, and you kind of want the levels on the NP to really start applying pressure around the map. So, a bit a bit more well-rounded for Sirius to close it out this way. The Storm Spirit up against the Shadow Fiend. Now, this is a mid lane matchup we have not seen in forever, but it's a classic mid lane matchup, and just going by the draft so far, you don't really have the best hold for that Storm. Your stun from the Sven can be dodged. You can commit the Doom onto the Storm, and I think that's always going to be worthwhile, but you have to play around that cooldown. So it's actually a pretty free Storm game in the sense that he can zip in and out without too much punishment as long as he's smart about his timing.
Certainly so. And, John, I have to apologize. I did say position 4 Jakiro. It should be a position 4 Earth Spirit, so I imagine position 5 Jakiro. Then again, I really don't know at this point because they may just switch them around. We're going to find out very, very soon. Once we get into the game, I'll be able to confirm for you. Nevertheless, John, I do believe you are siding heavily with EHOME's draft, but I will ask, is that the case, or do you think Sirius has a decent chance here?
I reckon EHOME's draft is pretty nice. I mean, Sirius does have a pretty big chance. As I mentioned, that Storm Spirit should be able to zip in and out just fine until the Doom does have that skill. But, you know, it's going to be on a massive timer. You can kind of counteract it as the Storm as well. So if they actually get enough space on ASD, you might be able to wreak havoc on that backline. And with the supports that they do have on Sirius' side, with how much Firefly is probably going to be spending down in mid with his Spirit Brother, they might be able to secure that good start for the Storm that he will need to snowball.
Well, just for confirmation, so we clear up any confusion, it is the position 3 Nature's Prophet. Position 5 Jakiro coming out. Position 4 Earth Spirit, of course, being played by Firefly. So that should clear up that. Of course, I do believe that is actually Inflame who's playing the Nature's Prophet on the side of Sirius. Looks like he's already going to say hello to Never End, although he might be in trouble now. Fortune's End will root him in place for quite a while. Never End has the Storm Hammer whenever he feels like throwing it out. They need some body blocks though. Sinkyu going to try and get in front. He has level 1 Devours, so can't use the Infernal Blade, but it won't matter. Y will go ahead and pick up the first blood very early on. It doesn't necessarily secure the banner runes, but it really should, because you'd imagine Inflame does not return to get these bounties up top.
Yeah, nice clean kill going the way of EHOME, and that is what you really want to see from this lineup, just that early pressure coming out, and they are doing it just fine already in this top lane. It's rare you see a Devour Doom actually securing that for his blood, but they do manage to do it anyway, and they are running a bit greedy. Again, Doom 4 tends to take a while to really start coming online. You're going to need level 2. I'd say level 3 is when it starts to be really comfy, but it tends to really not do too much until then. So we will watch out in Sinkyu. He's probably just going to dip in and out of that jungle, be a bit annoying, but overall just trying to secure his early levels.
Certainly so. Because we do see Inflamed, he will return up to the top lane, and these core Nature's Prophets, they can be very annoying to go up against. Because just having the ability to spawn those treants does make it so you can actually go for CS and harassment at the same time, assuming you have the micro. Never End having to commit some Storm Hammers to get some CS going, but could catch up relatively soon. Of course, mid lane, 430 is going to be up against ASD on the Storm. This matchup, it does, I mean, it should favor the SF going up until the level 6 mark for ASD, but I suppose it still could go any way.
Early on, I think it definitely does favor the Storm. He can just spam out that Static Remnant for the overload hits, and it's much easier for him to lay the harass and damage onto that SF compared to the SF. It takes him a bit more until those raises really start dishing the damage. Even then, you have to be mindful of your spacing.
Well, Sylar have some pretty decent time in the bot lane as the Wraith King. Not really any contention going to be there from Faith Beyond, especially while they're running a tri lane. Not really going to be able to do much but soak XP on that Tidehunter. Of course, Y will rotate over on the Oracle, but even then, still going to have a pretty difficult time trying to shut down Sylar.
Yeah, it's a really heavy investment here from Sirius, but ooh, they're diving deep.
Yeah, Faith should be alright though. He is starting to cop a lot of damage. They have dived way deep, but they will be able to find this kill. Sylar will go ahead and pick that one up for himself. Some great aggression coming out from Sirius. I mean, if they can keep this up over and over again, this lane is going to be a real whitewash. In fact, Y now gets jumped on by Firefly. Meanwhile, they are going on to Faith Beyond again, and he has already lost half his HP. Faith will go into the tree line, though Sylar is continuing the chase and will have a stun up in just a few seconds. A very big crit coming out as well. Now the stun, not quite yet. Firefly will roll in, and Faith Beyond will die as soon as he TPs back in. And I was even wondering what he was doing TPing in back to that tier 1 tower. And this is, I mean, this is serious, right? Like, they don't really play the same style as everyone else. They do these very awkward rotations that tend to catch teams off guard.
Yeah, it's one thing as well in Fate Beyond's build, he went for Gush level 1 and Kraken Shell level 2, so he doesn't really have a way of contesting that Raid King because he doesn't have the Anchor Smash. I'm really curious build coming out from Fate Beyond. I'm not sure why he was forced to go Gush.
Well, they find 430 in the mid lane as well. ASD and of course the Nature's Prophet in Flame will find the kill. Now a 3-1, 3.5 minutes in, and a very unexpected start coming out. EHOME, of course, again, being the heavy favorites going in. Well, not even the heavy favorites, but they were the favorites going in. Sirius, so far proving those odds wrong. Now Faith Beyond again, going to be chased down. Sylar, he gets in there with the stun. Skeletons coming out as well, though not that many. But Firefly going to be able to roll in very soon, though. Sin Q just keeping him at bay. Now the roll in, he'll actually go the other way onto Sin Q instead, though they are still chasing down Faith Beyond, and he is definitely dead. Another kill going on to that Tidehunter. They will end up finding Firefly at least as a trade. But Faith Beyond, I mean, it's not very often you see him dying this many times within 4.5 minutes, but it is happening.
Yeah, again, it's just not a great sign when your Tidehunter is struggling in that lane, and he's going to have to play recovery farm elsewhere, or they do lane swap, send him up top.
I suppose that's the best idea they could go up with, but In Flame will go ahead, TP out. They won't be able to find that successful gank. Will of course mean that, I mean, eventually, I thought they were going to move the Sven over, but Faith Beyond is now rotating again. Perhaps just trying to secure the batteries, but now has been surrounded. Firefly does have the role available, but he will not use it. Was just a few too many heroes there from EHOME around. And still, you saw how much damage In Flame did to that Tide. Basically taking out half his HP with a few right clicks. That really is not a great sign.
It definitely isn't, and In Flame does hit like a truck right now. He did pick up that early medallion as well, so his right clicks are going to be amped up whenever he wants to go for these rotations, and I think the key one was that mid rotation earlier on. It did slow down for Tricky. I think if they keep going back to that mid at opportune times when they know it's safe, that scan coming out from Sirius, spotting out that there are a couple of supports waiting in that area, very smart, and that does mean that Storm just goes and farms health for a bit.
Oh, Sin Q's now in trouble bot lane, though. They have made the dive, though Y will be there to purge off any slow coming out from the Jakiro. EHOME really having to rotate around the map constantly. As well as that, you've got multiple heroes right now just jungling up. You look at Faith Beyond, he's actually forced to take stacks off the Sven just to be able to catch up with this Tidehunter. That is not the answer you want on the side of EHOME, but they really have no choice. I mean, the thing is, you've got 3 heroes that want to clear jungle stacks, though. You've got an SF, a Tidehunter, and a Sven. It's very greedy in that sense, and it seems like Sirius, they've identified that weakness in EHOME's draft, and they are really taking advantage of it.
Yeah, they are abusing that fact that all these heroes do want that mid-game farm and recovery through the jungle. Now, Fate Beyond is going to have to eat through that, as you mentioned. The more worrying thing is really not on the Sven, it's more on for Turkey finding that early start. The SF can farm a lot and clears out waves fast, but this isn't the runaway start you expect from the SF. The Storm Spirit is still pretty much ahead for the most part, and he has to play recovery in the jungle right now.
Look at bot lane again, Sin Q. He's being chased down. Y will be there. Well, he won't even be necessary. I mean, Sylar's just going for a T2 tower now. With this Jakiro, with the Liquid Fire, it makes it so much easier. And there's really nothing they can do about it. And meanwhile, top lane, they are going for a gank rotation, though they will miss out on the Sven. But it won't matter. Neverend, he'll TP down to the bot lane to try and defend this. That T2's gone. There's just no way to defend it with just a Sven.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
Apparently, there is a way to defend.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, they do manage to clear that out. Again, the Sven can cleave through, but they give up that top tier 1. And already, Sirius has really good wards in that jungle. They're going to be able to track the movement, track them clearing those camps, and it's going to be a bit unsafe for them. I mean, Sirius has a lot of really fast heroes. That Storm Spirit and the Earth Spirit as well can close the gap quite fast, so your jungle is going to be a place where you have to really get those counter wards, and they did have a sentry sitting around, so clearing out that piece of information.
Faith Beyond again, going to be in trouble. So much damage being taken there by Inflame, just throwing out those right clicks with the medallion. Looks like they will rotate their way around to the mid lane now, and again, they can take these towers very, very quickly up against the EHOME. Looks like Firefly is just going to go Faith Beyond by himself, and he's actually going to find this kill by the looks of it.
A level 3, then level 4 Earth Spirit finding a solo kill on Tide.
Yeah. I mean, Firefly just making a lot of work happen so far this game. Now EHOME, they want to try and punish, and they are going to find the Jakiro. It looks like that is all they'll find, however, and a nice ice path connects on 3 heroes. But that does open up the bot lane, and Sylar goes ahead and claims the T2 tower.
I mean, this is really, really great play coming out from Sirius. They're just maximizing this early game push power that they have with the Wraith King. Not many teams really work this Wraith King well, but in this case, with Sylar on it, they have been wreaking havoc at that bot lane.
Might go for a smoke now on the side of Sirius as well. Firefly just holding out for ASD. Now they will. That mid lane tier 1 does look very nice for Sirius, and it looks like that's probably where they're going to end up, although... no, it looks like they are going to go straight after Faith Beyond again, perhaps. He's going to farm up, but they're looking to dive. Sylar, he'll start off with a stun. Now ASD, he'll jump in as well, and it's another easy kill. Faith is still, I mean, he's level 6 on the Tide, but that's his 5th death of the game. And I can't even say it's his fault. Like, they are just playing so well on Sirius.
They are really just keeping that aggression up, and that is what you want to see from this kind of lineup. With the Jack, with the NP, and especially that Wraith King, you come online fast, and looking at Sylar's itemization, this is really good of him. He goes for that armlet, the classic Wraith King item. Now, a lot of Wraith Kings we tend to have seen before.
White. Gonna go for the TP, will not be successful. Inflame will go ahead and pick that one up. They get the tier 1 mid tower, and I mean, honestly, I don't think they're stopping.
They definitely are. They still are pretty healthy. They haven't really expended any ultimates. In fact, they don't really care for any ultimates. They can just keep going like this.
Well, Faith has the Ravage, but it's not going to help if he dies, though. That looks like they are going to go in now. Faith just wants to find something for his team. They're going to get started. The nice ice path coming out from the Jakiro. Sylar going to lose his first life by the looks of it, and he will. Now the Ravage is going to be great for this team fight. They'll get started straight on that Wraith King. Sylar, he'll end up losing his life. It's a big amount of gold, though. Another ice path. They really want Faith Beyond for some reason. Neverend, though, with that cleave, they'll find Firefly as well. Now they'll find Inflame. In fact, no. Inflame will get out. 2 go down, though, for the Sirius side. In EHOME, definitely going to be satisfied with that.
Yeah, that's a great use of that first Ravage, and Faith Beyond must be feeling great already. Just managing to turn that around for his team. The one thing for Sirius there was that they took that fight without ASD. Now, without this guy, you really kind of lack damage, because, again, as we mentioned from the draft, EHOME's lineup is actually not that squishy. You have that Doom, you have that Sven, even the Tidehunter, when you don't have the numbers, is going to be hard to kill off, and without the damage, the magic damage from that Storm, you are going to have a few issues in bursting these heroes down, so a bit optimistic from Sirius to force that 4v5, but... you know, it looks like they're not going to let up. They smoke up again.
I don't blame them. They don't want to go into that mid game, or late game for that matter, up against what EHOME have. Just keep this advantage rolling. With ASD joining this time around, they will have that damage output that they were lacking. But who do they find? They do scan, they don't find anyone in their own jungle, so they rotate up towards the north, where again, of course, it's going to be Faith Beyond who gets caught out. He just walked into the camp, John. I mean, he's not out of position. It's almost like he's getting unlucky. Meanwhile, though, they will at least get the SF out of there before Sylar finds the Wraithfire Blast. But now your tier 2 mid tower's under siege, and it looks like it's going down. Nobody's there to defend it.
Yeah, and this is really looking still pretty rough for EHOME. Sure, they had that one great fight, but when that Ravage is down, where they're not clumped up 5v5 and taking these tight spots, Sirius can take it, and they smoke up again.
Why not? Nobody ever expects a third smoke in a row, John. Nobody ever expects it. Sirius, they're going to rotate up towards the top lane. Look at this. There will be a smoke from EHOME. There is a Ravage available in 10 seconds. Now, they can't mistime this, though. They're going to find Inflame. That'll be a nice pick to start off with, though. He's not even that easy. He throws out the Sprout, and now the Ice Path comes out. Roll in from Firefly with the Magnetize, though they are still trying to go after Inflame on that Prophet. He's still alive somehow. He finally ends up going down, but now Sylar wants to move in, and that Magnetize is doing a lot of work. Ravage will come out, however. They found ASD with the Doom. He caught the tail end of the Ravage just as it was going out. And EHOME, they do manage to find 2 hero pickoffs with that smoke. The Ravage just perfectly timed from Faith. And that will at least give them a bit more time.
It was definitely a bit greedy from Sirius re-engaging there. They knew the Ravage was in pop, they didn't have control on the Tide at that time. And ASD actually shot way too far. Really, a bit too much coming out from Sirius at once. I understand they do feel pressured to end this game early, but you are giving EHOME a way back. Your net worth lead drops to at least 2k. And again, as you go late against EHOME's draft, you're going to see the Sven go really big. You're going to see the SF start dealing that damage. And at that point, you know, your draft it does have room to scale up, but it's not as amazing as EHOME has towards that late game. So if you give them this opportunity to come back in, you will be making it hard on yourselves.
Well, they find Inflame, but Firefly gonna roll in to try and help out. Now the Sprout as well, saving him. They can't find the damage. Faith, he wants it so desperately, but it's gonna cost him with his life. Oh, Faith. Oh, it just feels so bad for him right now. I mean, you think you'd be able to find a Nature's Prophet. Now Q gonna get taken down as well. ASD finds him in the mid lane. It's a 10-7. Slight net worth lead there for Sirius by about 3k. 1 out of tower left for EHOME. 15 minutes into this game. At the very least, 4:30, he does find himself a boundary rune for his team, but he might get caught out here. Of course, the Jakiro already ready to set up. Has got eyes on him. They are moving ASD in as well, though he's not the highest in mana right now, and it looks like they will allow 4:30 to just TP back.
Yeah, and again, it feels like when EHOME does not have these big spells off cooldown, they're not going to be able to take these fights, and they just scatter around. Now, that's a smart move, of course. You try to split around, get the farm you can on the map. The issue is, when they're not clumped up, Sirius will always punish that move. They have high mobility in their heroes. They're going to be able to gap close, smoke up, and always find these pickoffs, and it does cost EHOME.
Now Roshan going to be taken by the side of Sirius. Acropire is, of course, being committed as well, though they are backing off. Side of EHOME, though, they'll go for a smoke now. The scan will reveal that nobody's actually in the Roshan pit any longer, so they will run straight towards the west of their own jungle. Inflame is going to be a nice target to find for them. So it looks like they will go for Sylar instead. He does have 2 lives, so there is time to rotate here for Sirius, though perhaps not enough time. Sylar, he'll lose 1 life. And I don't think they're going to make it in time. Sylar, he's going to try and fight, but yeah, there's no way. He does end up going down on EHOME. Again, finding a very nice pick-off. It's going to delay the game out just a bit longer for them. The longer this game goes on, the better chance they have.
Definitely so. They do manage to find a really big kill in Sylar, of course, as you mentioned. He has been doing a lot of work in this Raid King, so wasting that level 1 reincarnation, which has a massive cooldown, just ensures that Sirius won't have that tool in the next team fight, which honestly shouldn't be too long from now because the aggression from these guys has been pretty on point, like constant aggression from Sirius side. But you do kind of see EHOME starting to pull back a bit. Like they have made sure that this network gap has not increased past 3k, and they are still finding the farm on heroes they need to farm on. I want to point out that 430s particularly should have a good timing on that Guardian Greaves. We have seen SFs without get it very fast, of course, and it really bumps up their durability, especially since he is a primary target on Sirius' side. So just having that Guardian's Greave up earlier on should help maintain their team's health in these team fights. Again, everyone is pretty tanky except the SF, but with those Guardian Greaves, he's not going to have too much of an issue as the game goes on.
I certainly agree. EHOME doing what they need to do. Sirius just slowing down a bit. Perhaps thinking twice before they go for another target, but they definitely are aware that they can't drag this out. I mean, even if you look at the item build there of Sylar, he's going for a Heaven's Halberd. Not generally the kind of itemization you see on a position 1, but it just goes to show, like, they do not want to drag this out at all. They are going to make a dive onto 430 top lane, although no, they'll go for the Oracle first instead. They don't want the False Promise to come out. Wyatt will use it on himself, but he is definitely dead. So the rest of the cavalry now coming in, trying to protect their Oracle. He will die regardless. In fact, no, he'll survive through the False Promise. I didn't think he had enough healing, but apparently he did.
Yeah, that's really good on him. I guess it was that salve. Did he have a salve?
Well, there was a
Going
mech
through
that
and
came
him.
out as well from Ferrari.
Did he really just pop the mech? It's off cooldown right now.
Oh, maybe he didn't. ASD gonna jump in after the Oracle. Once again, there's no False Promise this time around. Can they burst him? The Doom was committed straight on ASD, and now a nice Ravage coming out from Faith Beyond. They'll find one. It looks like they're gonna find another in Flame. And now this is the point where Sirius is looking pretty bad. I mean, they got such a great start, but they couldn't get the job done quick enough, and they're gonna fall behind at this rate. Like, again, they've itemized for that mid game, but more so just to essentially make EHOME's heroes useless, it seems. But now you're not gonna really be set up for this mid game that's gonna be coming out of EHOME.
No, definitely not. It's down to ASD always going for that Oracle, and you know, they didn't even get the kill on Y. He didn't even die there, Mike, the second time they jumped in. Again, when that Doom, when that Ravage is up, EHOME will always take these fights. It's just a superior amount of control, and you really lock that Storm out when that Doom is up. So, I don't know about that. I really am curious about the prioritization of Sirius. I understand that, again, they want to take these fights earlier on, but you have to know when to back out when you're Sirius, and they've always just gone straight in every single time. That's going to cost them. The lead is now on EHOME's side, less than 1k, but that's not a good sign because it means EHOME is bouncing back in.
Certainly are. Of course, Guardian Greaves are now up on Ferrari. Gonna be a headache to deal with. He's in queue, getting a lot of well, he's got the drums, he's got the pipe going. Never End as well. Finishes off the Sanjin Yasha. Is about to also have the full BKB up. Just needs to buy out the recipe. And although Faith Beyond hardly still has any items on the tide, it just doesn't seem like he needs them. I mean, nobody on the side of Sirius is going BKB as it stands, so he's just gonna have a free Ravage every single time.
Yeah, it's not, again, great, and they do try to get a split push going, but Faith Beyond comes in response.
It looks like they still find the tier 2 tower though. So, deny attempt will not really come out. They will find it.
No?
No, they did deny it, excuse me.
Yep. It's that Anchor Smash just really lowering the damage. Makes it a bit easier to get that deny off.
With this, I mean, Sirius, what do they do now, John? I mean, I realize they're still kind of in the lead when you look at all the objectives that have been taken off the map. I don't really see them winning a team fight very easily anymore. What's their real objective now?
they're gonna have to kind of try to at least find those single target pickoffs. Like what they were doing earlier, when they lose a big team fight, they just have to kind of regroup and do it again because the Ravage would be off, the Doom would be off, God's Strength would be off, and that is the opening that Sirius needs to find these kills. Now, every time they don't do that, like right now, EHOME does have Doom backup, they have a Ravage backup, they don't have God's Strength, but it's going to be back up in 20. This is not the time for Sirius to fight. They're not even supposed to contest, because that team fight will just go the way of EHOME every single time, unless they somehow burst down the Doom and ensure that ASD can just zip in and out just fine. They are just lacking in that big teamfight control.
Well, ASD does have the Orchid now up, so he might be able to get the catch off onto SyncQ, but it just feels like they don't have the burst potential, though. Look down at that bot lane. The split push is still going. Of course, Faith will be there with Neverend to defend this tier 3 tower. I suppose perhaps this is the objective now. Buy ASD a bit of time on that Storm. You see StarLadder as well, starting to rotate into those late game items. He's already trying to pick up an Assault Cuirass on the Wraith King. And there will be a smoke from Sirius. Now again, you just pointed out the Ravage and Doom are both up. But perhaps they're looking for just a single pick-off. Maybe all they need. They are going to find Neverend, though. He already broke the smoke. Very unfortunate. It's the Jakiro walking down the hill, seeing the Sven, and well, that'll stop the smoke attempt. Now Sala has to be careful. Moving their way in on the side of EHOME, but he does back off in time.
It does look like they are shifting up their build towards the late game. I mean, that AC would be nice on Sylar, but I don't think that really solves all the issues they have right now. You still have massive magic damage coming out through the SF, and even through the Oracle, he does pretty good consistent damage as well. So that AC should help them out in the push. I think that's really the biggest benefit. Just help them with that push, maybe against the Sven and the right clicks of SF, but overall, you have to worry about that magical burst, which is getting huge for EHOME. Again, mainly riding on that SF as well. Just that Requiem coming out at the right spot is going to cause major issues for everyone.
Again, Sirius just buying a bit of time. Firefly, he's sitting in the tree line on the east side right now in EHOME. Looking to set up for those bounty runes, and will be able to claim 2 for themselves. Sirius should be able to claim 2 on their end of things, though. Well, again, you look at Inflame, he TP's in, throws out the treants, does a bit of damage to that T3 tower, and just TP's straight back out.
Yeah, it looks like they will have to rely a bit on that ratting now, as, again, the team fights just don't look clean for Sirius anymore, and EHOME have been grouping up as 3 at the minimum, so you don't really have that opportunity to find those single target pickoffs, and you can't really dive tier 3s from.
Faith. They're finding the Jakiro. Sort of easy pick off for him, and they move into that Roshan pit straight away. Now, Sirius probably can't really afford to give this away, but Neverend is hitting so darn hard right now. They don't really have a choice. Like, it looks like they're not even aware, but they do have an observer ward there that scouted that Roshan happening, but and they won't bother trying to fight this. They will allow the Roshan to go down. Inflame, he will be there up once again at the bot lane, just pushing the tier 3 in. And of course, Faith Beyond will TP in and trying to get that sorted out. And EHOME, they're just going to continue farming up. I mean, they know they've got the late game. Sirius goes back to what their game plan is here right now, and it really doesn't look like they have one apart from just keep continuing to push in that bot lane.
Yeah, it's looking rough again. They just don't have a control in the 5v5, which EHOME is forcing out quite well. They never declump.
Well, they're going to go in, top lane. They're going to go straight after that Doom, and now AC jumps in, but the false promise was there. Can they burst him down fast enough? Doom will not come out quite yet. ASD just ensure he gets out before it does. Though now Y will end up losing his life and will go down. A nice team fight, Sala. He just picked up that Assault Cuirass and they wanted to use it pretty much straight away. And they will use it effectively.
Yeah, they do find the Oracle there, but they didn't pick off that Doom, and it looks like EHOME is willing to go back in.
Yeah, Neverend gonna jump straight on to Sylar, though. Can't really dish out the damage that quickly, and the Heaven's Halberd was available. Though they do find the Doom now into ASD. He does get caught out by Sin Q, and he is dead. And EHOME, they're just gonna be happy with that.
Yeah, that's the key target they really want. Sure, you expend a Doom, but again, every time you use it on the Storm, it's going to be worthwhile. Now, ASD is trying to build up a Lincoln Sphere. It doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. You have so many ways of blocking that out from EHOME that I think it will only work out once on reveal. Beyond that, it just buys you a little bit more time.
Well, they'll go ahead, they'll claim a tier 1 tower for the side of EHOME. They're going to go straight after a tier 2 as well. Just understanding they can't really be contested right now. The Ice Path will come out, but that's not really going to stop them from doing what they need to do. Looks like Inflame will go down to the bot lane as well. And once again, just start pushing it out. So this time around, why is there on the Oracle though?
Never end.
Jumping in quite deep. They will end up finding Jakiro fairly easily. Looks like Inflame will continue just pushing in that bot lane and we'll find a tier 3 tower. He might even find a Rax here by himself. They are going to buy back on the Jakiro, and now EHOME, they can't really afford to back off, but ASD jumps straight in onto that Sven, and looks like he will claim the Aegis. Meanwhile, Inflame, he gets out of there safely. It seems like he hasn't found the Rax, so Neverend has been left alone. That BKB TP, though, will allow him to walk out of there safely. Well, they do end up finding Inflame down in the bot lane. The Rax is still safe, but they actually end up losing a tier 3.
Yeah, I'd say that's actually a bit of a win for Sirius. They managed to take the objective they want. They do defend their tier 3 as well, and they kind of waste the Aegis on EHOME. So, a bit of a win there for Sirius. They're gonna need to really work it out a bit more. It does still feel like they are playing on the back end. They are 6k behind EHOME right now. And they are going to have to rely on that split push from this Nature's Prophet from this point forward, it feels like.
Ooh, Ravage being committed mid lane, straight on ASD. Of course, the Ravage well worth it for that Storm kill. Looks like they will rotate down to the bot lane with the tier 2 tower. It's under siege now by the creep wave thanks to 430. Top lane is also being pushed in, but that's just Firefly there. Faith Beyond again will be there to defend. EHOME. One outer tower left for the side of Sirius now. Looks like Sin Q has also ended up finding Inflame and will commit the Doom for it as well. Just get rid of this pesky Nature's Prophet. You won't have to worry about that split push constantly coming in from this man. Sin Q will basically be able to do the job himself, I'm sure. Fortune's End will be there just to help out as well. Let's go for the Sprout and TP attempt, though he will not make it. Of course, there was the Infernal Blade available still. At the very least, though, he does delay the creep wave from going down to that bot lane.
Yeah, again, they are really just riding on the back of this NP to buy that time, buy that space for them to grow bigger, but right now in Sirius's end, it doesn't feel like this time is paying off quite yet. Sylar is still holding on to his gold, and they lose out on their Jack as well.
Everin, of course, does have that solo potential with the Sven. Just is critting for about 1k with that God Strength right now. Very scary amount of damage coming out from this Sven. ASD, meanwhile, getting chased by Faith Beyond. Should be okay. The mid tier 2 will end up falling. And again, Sirius just on the back foot right now. So it looks like they are going to go into Faith Beyond top lane. It isn't going to be an easy kill. Not as easy as it used to be anyway. Faith looking to set up for his team as well, though he does not have the Ravage available. Just wants to keep vision on ASD and Inflame. Looks like though they will hide in the tree line and they should be alright. Oh, nice scan coming out onto ASD. They know he's around though, never end. He blinks he runs the wrong way. with that, EHOME, they're starting to set up for that top push. Still, they may just wait out the next Roshan, though. I mean, you don't have the Aegis available on Never End anymore. Or he could just feel like he could just do this, which he can. They aren't really there as 5, though. Scythe Device will come out, though, on Ferrari. And, well, ASD going to try his best to defend for the team. Be a pretty hard ask though, Never End. We'll get to tier 3. Now the Ravage comes in.
God.
Faith, he found so many of them. They're going to find another in the Nature's Prophet, it seems. In fact, no, that's Sylar. They found him out. He will be able to walk out of there, but who the hell cares about him? The Raxes are being taken by EHOME. Meanwhile, the mid lane is also being pushed in by Inflamed once again. But what does it matter? You're about to lose another tier 3 and probably another Rax on the side of Sirius. Sylar gonna go in, but the Scythe Device was there from 430, and now the stun comes out. They do have the root as well, and they'll be able to at least find the reincarnation life. Will they even bother for a secondary? They probably will. He's just alone right now. They'll bring in Inflame to try and help out, though Never End thinking about diving. Now the Doom being committed. Bit of a wishful Doom, but it still will buy them time for the third tier 3 tower if they really want it. They'll roll in now. BKB TP away from Sin-Q. The Yules will be there onto Y. They won't mind Y dying too much. He's just the position 5 anyway.
Yeah, and they do manage to clean up 2 melee racks. They expended Doom on Sylar. I don't know about that one. I feel like if they held on, they might have actually had enough threat that tier 3 down bot could have gone away, but they still get a lot from that base, and Sirius once again really on the back foot now. The creep waves are going to be a bit tougher to push out with those super creeps, and it's just going to be a bit of a rougher time for Chanming to really get that push going. I believe that is Chanming, if I recall the symbols right. Again, it's been a while.
Well, they are going pretty aggressive right now. AZ, they're going to jump straight onto that Sven, though. Can they take him out? Yes, they can. And now Ferrari 430 going to get jumped by Firefly, and he's gone. All right. Sirius, again, with the surprise factor, just finding EHOME by themselves. They don't have any creep waves to use, though, to actually push out. Roshan won't be up for another minute as well, so they won't have that available to them.
And that kind of sets them back. Like, that's a massive opening for them. Like, a minute with no SF, and a full minute as well without the Doom, but you can't push out. You can't take these objectives, and that's down to them losing those 2 racks. The lanes will always push into their side, which means they just can't apply that pressure.
They are going to try for that tier 3 tower now. How fast can Sirius take it? I mean, at the very least, 430 won't be there. Sylar does do a lot of damage with that Wraith King. Thinks about Faith Beyond, but Faith Beyond just copying no damage at the moment. Screw him, just go for the racks instead, Sylar. That seems to be the plan, though here comes Sin-Q. They are still trying to take down Faith Beyond, who is just so darn tanky. He has an Oct Green core right now. Sylar gonna go back to concentrating on that melee barracks, but he might end up losing his life. He brings out the skeletons now. ASD goes in the back, though. Ravage does connect on ASD, and with that, they perma-stun him up. He does go down. They have found the mid-racks, however. That's one positive, though. Faith looking for Sylar once again. He will settle for Firefly as well, though the roll away, and Sylar will just TP out. Inflame, though, actually able to TP out as well.
Yeah, they do manage to get that. They get their NP out, and again, just they managed to at least back off after taking those mid racks, and that's still a pretty nice win for Sirius. Is it enough to turn the tides of this game? They have an opening still. Ravage is down, Doom is down, so they still have chances here to take this road
Triple
fight.
Ice Path, John, in the Roshan pit. Macro being dropped as well, and EHOME, they're going to try and turn this one around, though. Scythe Device will be there and Inflame. There's the God Strength as well, but another nice Ice Path coming out. They are trying to go in the backline, take care of that Jakiro. Meanwhile, Faith just taking care of Inflame. They will take down already 2 on the side of Sirius, and well, I thought it was going to be a great start for them, but they didn't even have their Wraith King there to help out with the DPS. Sylar now coming in by himself. Not sure what the game plan is. They're just going to control him up and he's down. That's one life gone though. ASD trying to go on Sin Q, but this is another life for Sylar going down here.
No buyback.
Yep, ASD still trying to control up Sin Q, who's chasing Firefly on that Earth Spirit. Firefly is just going to die here though. Let's get a nice kick away, but it won't matter. Looks like they did buy time for Inflame to push out the bot lane again, but Faith Beyond's already there to defend. And with that, I mean, EHOME gonna try and go in for a GG push now. They're going for that range racks first. Try and get those megas up. Inflame again being very annoying with those treants. Just will find a range racks for himself at least. But still, they're gonna get mega at this rate. A buyback is now up though for the Wraith King, and they will buy back on Sylar, and he'll jump straight in, but the Hex from 430, they're going to lose the life straight off the bat. He has Reincarnation. ASD trying to go after Y on that Oracle. Now Sylar just man fighting Nether End. And well, it looks like they'll go into Sin Q instead, and though False Promise will be there in time, Sylar still trying to fight. 430 right behind him. He's just going to go man fight everybody apparently. The Never End has God Strength, will end up fighting Inflame. Now Sylar gonna be a sitting duck. He loses one life. Firefly gets caught out. There's a Ravage from Faith Beyond, and they will find Sylar a second time, and that'll be GG. What a game number one for this final though, coming out 14-29. You thought Sirius was going to be able to pull off that win so many times throughout this game, but EHOME, they just came back, and well, again, you can't underestimate EHOME. They are a pretty darn good team.
They definitely are. Sirius once again trying to get that early aggression on, and they really worked out that Wraith King in the early game to the early part of the mid game quite well. They just gave too much space to EHOME. They kind of ignored 430 on that Shadow Fiend, and once EHOME had the Ravage and Doom, they could just counterfight very well. So props to Sirius for trying to really work that Wraith King draft out. It just doesn't pay off in the end, and EHOME does take game one in these upper bracket finals, Mike.
Certainly do. We'll see how they perform in game number 2, however. I mean, this team, Sirius, they put on a real good fight, and honestly, I mean, they could easily take this series. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Still, we will go into game number 2 very soon, ladies and gentlemen. It won't be too long of a wait, I don't believe. I will update you guys if it will be. It is MLPDotA and johnxfire. Hopefully you're all enjoying. We'll be back with you in just a moment to see how game 2 pans out. Won't be too long.